The buzz on the spin. Stupid girl has a concussion and won't be up for at least a few hours. The cleanup of the 500,000 spilt rockets from the endless barrage that spilled all over everything will take at least that long as well. Roughly 36 other women were being rushed to medical facilities, and the salvage and janitorial staff were all called off break to swarm into the area before someone decided to pick up rapid onset retardation and started fucking with a live missile. At full size, they were 120 centimeters long and were solid enough when not primed you could easily beat some poor soul to death with them. Which means that suddenly finding yourself under a pile of hundreds of the things was a distinct health hazard and has already damn near killed 3 people. They had gotten to the hospital in time, but it was a near thing. To make things even more annoying, War Lady Arishok has decided to turn her visit to the station into a visit proper. Her daughters had been handed some cash and sent to Sector 5 for some ritzy fun, and about half of her ship's crew was crowding things around Sector 2 and watching the gladiator matches. There were some silent prayers that they didn't set off the Crimson Hewers or were set off by the Crimson Hewers. Idiots in the brig, victims in the med halls, and so that means he has to start following things up in other directions, like the rumors of vermin beginning to infest the station. Thankfully, this is turning out to be a bust, as the woman who made the report is clearly either mentally unwell or on something. Crawling in the walls and all over the product. Look at this. Look, the Ice Aramenta woman says, throwing open the door to the freezer to show row after row of skinned, gutted, and preserved haunches of meat. He can't identify the species, out of hand, but he's fairly sure that there's a couple haunches from here in the meat locker back in the hive. What am I missing here? He asks the Aramenta as he gives the woman the benefit of the doubt. Can't you hear them? She demands, and he pauses and tilts his head. The slight buzzing of the lights overhead, a crackle as the warmer air of the station sweeps into the fridge and causes a mild thaw, the buzzing of his wives nearby, his own breath, her breath, Lady Arishok's mild giggle in the background which he ignores. I cannot, he states blandly. What? That's insane! Look! She screeches, grabbing a bin and thrusting it in front of him. Dozens of fish in individual sealed packets and frozen solid enough to bludgeon someone to death with. However, several of them are distinctly chewed on, right through the plastic, the work of an animal and not an intelligent being. Even if you have the jaw strength and prefer your meat frozen solid, you still peel it out of the plastic. You don't eat the plastic with it. He reaches in and pulls out one of the chewed-on samples. There are the unmistakable imprint of tiny teeth marks on the meat. Shit. See? I do. How many other storage rooms have been hit by these things? And were you able to get a good look at them? Perhaps spotted some droppings or even the corpse of one? No. Whatever these are, they're very resistant to the cold, and they've been getting around security barriers somehow. I'm at my wit's end. I've been trying to track them down for days and came up with nothing, she exclaims, and things fall into place. She's not on something. She's exhausted and has run herself manic, trying to contain a problem that needs a whole damn team to solve all by herself. I see. Next time tell us sooner and include a picture of your evidence in the report. We'll be able to jump on things much quicker that way, he says, before pulling out his communicator and taking a picture before sending it up. He gets a text back in moments. Shafties? He asks out loud. Yes, that makes sense, damn it. This just went from hard to nearly impossible. Enlighten me. What's a shafty? Heh, rhyme. A shafty is a small axiom-capable vermin. I was wondering how they got in, but if it's shafties, it makes sense. They can teleport and are really fast if they know which way. Where do they teleport to, or how do they do it? Hoagie asks, and the Ice Aramenta just pauses. You don't really know, do you? No. I see. Thank you for your time. I'll be looking into things very closely. He says, even as he considers. You also didn't answer that earlier question. Are there more freezers where you found things eaten? 2 more. Follow me, she says and leaves the freezer for him to follow. He takes a quick picture of the contents of the nibbled-at crate and sets it back down before following. The second room has what appear to be mass-produced sausages as the victim of the shafties, and once again the plastic film is eaten clean through with numerous chunks of meat missing. So this has only showed up in the last few days? 2 days ago. I've been trying to track them, but haven't found any openings or droppings or anything. I thought someone was pulling a dumb joke for a bit before I saw something in the bottom of the crate. I sent in the report, but, well, you're having a hard time thinking, aren't you? I'm fine. I've got Axiom to keep me going. No amount of Axiom will substitute for a night's sleep. It's a band-aid on a bloody stump at best. I'm here now, I'm calling in the experts and getting this looked after. Go home and get some sleep. But love the tenacity, but be reasonable and take care of yourself. He interrupts and she blinks before blushing. Alzi, Ziz, can you see her home? She looks ready to fall down and has done us a solid letting us know that we've got a problem. It's her job to let us know. Alzi protests somewhat. Doesn't mean she didn't help us, Hoagie replies. I'm not going anywhere anyways. I'm staying here and waiting for the experts to have their say before I head back to the hive. All right, so let's get the nearest exterminators and get this started. Teleporting rats. Good grief. It takes about 10 minutes to both negotiate things and get all the information he has lined up straight. The Malley sisters' exterminators arrive fairly quickly and start immediately scanning the area. During this, the owner of the warehouses and freezers also makes her presence known and is less than happy to hear about the shafties. Thankfully, she's talked down so easily by the fact that exterminators have already arrived and the station itself is footing the bill in order to contain potential damage that she simply makes sure that Hoagie has all access and goes back to her office. Alzi and Ziz return quickly as the Malley sisters start sorting things out and homing in on the nest of the shafties. Apparently from the signs it's only a small one, and if they find it, they can end it all here and now. There are ways to contain even teleporting vermin, and the preferred method is to set up a teleportation sinkhole. A simple trick that won't catch a normal person who understands the idea of teleporting, but will easily trap and contain something like a shafty that doesn't really know how to aim their jumps. They explain it to him that it's like setting up a magnet to pick up metal nails. A person will understand to make only very deliberate jumps to get away, where a shafty, making a flurry of blind jumps, will only keep going back into the container. 4 of them are set up, 1 in each of the freezers already hit, and 1 nearby where they expect the nest to be. That done, the girls give a fairly reasonable bill for their time and tell Hoagie to expect another when they come to collect their equipment. After that will be disposal fees and the labor coupled with the equipment rental and cleaning. The bill adds up fast and he's just left with a raised eyebrow at the cheekily grinning Gobi that's trying to scalp him. He says nothing, but he does hold her gaze for a bit. However, she rallies and refuses to budge. So he agrees, but makes a note that they're the greedy type and hold more pride in wringing every little bit of tritite out of someone rather than actually doing the job. You let them scalp you? Lady Arishok asks after they leave. I've set up a little note about their tendencies. This is going to cost them a lot more in the long run. I see. And why not simply warn them of the dangers of such practices? Well, for starters, I'm not responsible for them. They are mature enough and skilled enough to run their own business. They can run it how they like. However, as I've said about this station before, no laws, but the law of consequences. Interesting. Interesting indeed, Hoagie says, before he turns to Lady Arishok fully and looks her right in the eyes. Now then, you've judged me, and I've judged you. Would you like to exchange conclusions? Certainly, she says. You are a very deliberate and very cautious war lady. You consider the pros and cons of things thoroughly and do not let emotion drive you. You are very goal-oriented, dutiful, and efficient. Lady Arishok replies with a grin. Thank you. Now, I understand that you, whether or not you are a mercenary, that you do value a challenge and clearly value family and self-excellence. The willingness to let your daughters learn and the wisdom to pull them back when needed told me this. And you are far from unwilling to get your hands dirty. You will make an exceptional soldier. I already am a soldier, ma'am. To the undaunted. I'm on loan to the station and partially in charge for keeping it friendly to our interests. Speaking of which, he says before reaching into the breast pocket of his obnoxiously loud and bright shirt and pulling out a business card. If you feel the urge to hire your ship and services out to an army, we're always looking for new captains and recruits. Are you trying to hire me? War Lady Arishok asks in an amused tone. Me? No. I'm trying to get you to speak with the Admiral. He'll hire you. The Admiral? She asks. Admiral Garfield Cistern, founder and current head of the Undaunted. My species trusted him to make first contact, and when an impossible situation was foisted on him by the politicking of the homeworld, he found a winning strategy anyways and proceeded to create an entirely new political entity on the galactic stage. Sounds like the kind of thing that gets someone executed for treason. It's only betrayal if you weren't betrayed first. There were hundreds of self-conflicted and self-sabotaging orders that he had to follow all at once, and any one of them could have been used an excuse to execute not only him, but the entire ship. So, he found an answer. You're making for a very unusual case for this. Yes, I am, which means that you will look further into this. I've told you enough to attract your attention, and quite frankly, that's all I need to do. You wouldn't have traced the thief to this station so quickly if you weren't both thorough and inquisitive, Hoagie says, and she outright smiles. Very interesting indeed. I'm not completely sure what to make of you, but you have my attention, whether for good or ill. I'm sure. Now, Hoagie begins before pausing and pulling out his communicator again as a message comes in. Oh, okay. Excuse me. I have some more work to wrap up. I'll be heading into administration-only areas, however, so I'm afraid we have to part ways here. I see. Thank you for your time, human. Enjoy your stay on Octaron Spin, he says before walking past her with his wives in tow. Are you sure you should be turning your back on that woman? Jabreza whispers to him as she buzzes up close. I don't have much of a choice. But it's not like she can go anywhere she won't be watched. Giving someone like her too much attention will inflate her ego. She's dangerous, but paying too much attention to that danger will convince her she can use it. If it's disregarded, though, you think she won't do anything? One of the biggest things about intimidating someone is the other person actually being intimidated. I'm aware of what she can do, what she can order. But by playing it down, she's let the threat down. And if she took offense, it wouldn't be ending well.